Welcome to the Noisy Composer. Okay, we're back. Before we get started, I want to first point out something different here. Do you find it? What is new? Oh yeah, it's a microphone. So my son confiscated my USB mic, my Yeti, and so I had to hook up this little fella. Okay, so if you ignore it, then I will. All right, let's get started. Today we're going to work on leading tone triads, the triad that's built on the 7th scale degree. So looking at the first example here we have an E major scale, starting on E, ending on E, and this 7th scale degree is the leading tone. And it's the leading tone because it's a half a step from E. So a half a step down from E is D sharp. And if we build a triad on this, then we have a chord that is a dominant function. Okay, first let's listen to the scale. All right, so on the solfege T, or the 7th scale degree, let's build a triad. So if we click on this, that's T. I can't sing that high, at least not this time. So we can add a D sharp, F sharp, and an A, and we'll get that quality. Let's listen to it in the scale. Okay, and so therefore, the quality of this chord is diminished, which means it's minor, 2 stacked minor thirds. You probably remember this from last semester. Okay, next is E minor. So in the major keys, the 7th scale degree is the leading tone. In minor keys, this E minor, E natural minor, the 7th scale degree is not D sharp, it's D. It's a whole step down. So technically, it's not the leading tone. It was what we would call the subtonic, or a whole step down. So first things you want to remember is in minor keys, you want to raise the leading tone. You probably remember that from the 5 chord, because you want to raise the leading tone to create, tension. You want that half step. It's what creates tension that you can resolve it into tonic. Okay, so if we do that, then we're going to add. So let's listen to it first here. There we go. Here's natural minor with te, or flat 7. Okay, and then if we raise it, let's listen to it again with T, or raised 7th, or the leading tone. Okay, and so you can hear that T-do, this half step here. And again, if we build a triad on this, it's D sharp, F sharp from the key, and A. So it's the same scale, but this would be in a minor key. Same chords. So therefore, the 7th scale degree in major is T, or leading tone, and then the 7th scale degree in minor is now T, or leading tone. And so therefore, you want to create it's the same chord. Okay, now one of the things we want to think about is how to build this and how it functions. So like I mentioned earlier, it's a dominant function, and if you look at it, the chord is built with the root of the chord is the leading tone, and the 5th of the chord is the chord 7th of the 5/7, or it's the fa that would want to fall down. So those 2 notes in major are tendency tones. So the only thing it would actually double is the 3rd of the chord. All right, so let's build it. Let's build a chord. So the first chord here, we're going to do a leading tone triad. So instead of D sharp in the bass, we'll put F sharp because it's in first inversion. And then we can let's do the leading tone in the tenor. So D, F, A, which we can do A in the soprano. So therefore, we can double the 3rd, or the F sharp, in the alto. Okay, good. So this is it. So we have our our leading tone triad in first inversion, where it usually likes to be. In fact, let's bring these little notes that I created for you so I don't have to type them. It's usually in first inversion, and you try to double the third. Okay. All right, so now let's resolve it. So the 7 chord, we could write that in actually. So it's going to be a 7 diminished triad. This is going to resolve to 1. All right, so we put that right there. Well, technically, it's in first inversion here, so we're going to add a 6. There we go. Look at that, all fancy. Let's move them all. There you go. Okay, there's your figured bass for this. And then we're going to go to 1. So let's do that. So in the bass voice, so I'll use my bass voice. We'll put in the E, and D sharp is a leading tone, so it's going to want to resolve up to E. And then the F sharps, they tend to go in opposite directions. So this F sharp is resolving down, so therefore this one wants to go up. So G sharp. And then finally, the A, we can go up to the 5th of the chord. Right? So you notice the upper voices are moving in contrary motion to the bass. Let's listen to that. Let's see what that sounds like. So measure 2, here we go. Fantastico. All right, now let's do that in minor. So that's an example in major. Let's do the same thing in minor. So we're starting with the F sharp in the bass. And then what else can we do? We can do, let's do the same thing so you can see the connection. We'll put the D sharp in the tenor voice. But notice, remember, it's D natural right now because of the key signature. We're in E minor. Do we need to put that in to remind you? I'll put in to remind me. There we go. Oh yeah, it's an E minor. I remember now. And this chord is what? It's a 7 diminished, first inversion. And we're going to be resolving it to 1. Okay, so dominant function, usually in first inversion, resolving to tonic. Not always resolving to tonic, but it will resolve the same way that 5 chords resolve. The only difference is that this is not stable enough to be a cadence. So you're going to want to not end a phrase with this. Okay, let's go back. So D, F. That's right. We forgot to raise the leading tone. So we have to, there we go. And we'll put the A in the soprano and the F sharp back in the alto. And it will actually resolve the same way. So therefore, E minor in the bass. What am I doing here? E. Oh. There we go. We'll have to move this. So this is EGB chord. These are going to resolve the same way. There we go. And we'll fix this for good housekeeping. Notice it's the same quality. Let's listen to that. Measure 4. Nice. Okay, that's that. So come back with an example.
Psst, don't forget to subscribe.